Rob here with a look behind the scenes. It's Badass Overtime, giving you a chance to listen in to Sven's conversation with his guests after the show.
All right, Shoshanna, let me ask you, what's going on inside you right now?
I feel a little relieved.
Of what?
I don't know. I'm struggling to find words tonight. I know that I feel a little less burdened.
What was the burden? What was the belief or the burden or the thought or the feeling? What was it? To be relieved of something, a burden means you've set something down. What got set down?
The idea that what I'm up against is impossible.
Okay. You said, I feel a little relieved, and you were about to say you feel something else. What else do you feel?
I'm still scared. I'm definitely scared.
And what's the single scariest part in one sentence or less?
Failing.
Right.
Just not having it be true that I actually can't stand up for myself or make my own decisions. I have a habit of following people. I have a habit of being drawn to people who appear very confident.
Right.
Even if they're not making good decisions, I'll follow them because I don't listen to my inner voice.
Right.
The first video I saw of yours where you were wearing a red shirt and you said, sure, you stand up to him, but then you sit back down. And that was the moment I said, shit, yeah, I do just keep sitting back down.
You stand up and you sit down. Right, and taking it. And so if you fail,
letting someone else be in charge.
Right, because if someone else is in charge, then I can't fail. Then I don't have to risk failing and then sort of hearing that message inside of me. See, you can't. See, you're not good enough. You've been taught since you were a child to distrust your own inner voice. You need to find a man, someone who else's voice you can rely on. And you've got to decide whether or not you choose to trust your own inner voice. And the truth is, you're going to make a million mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. If you had asked me at the beginning of the session, well, Sven, what do you love about you? Like I asked you, I had asked you the question. And while you were sort of pausing to answer your question, you want to know one of the things I love the most about me? I hit my head all the time on shit.
What?
I have like dents in my fucking head and stuff. I'm always hitting my head. I've always had a big head. In fact, when I was in college at the Air Force Academy, they went to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos didn't have a helmet big enough for me. They went to the semi-pro team, the Denver Gold. They didn't have a big enough one. They had to go to Rydell and get a special fucking helmet. I was the kid who needed a special helmet. And, and for whatever reason, I'm always dinging my head on shit. And I make me laugh. It's like, not like I tried, but it's like I ding my head and it fucking hurts and I start laughing. It's just that I'm a fucking idiot. I love so many things about myself, and I fail all the time. And unfortunately for you, failure is an indication of your worth. You've been taught that it's an indication of your worth. And just out of curiosity, who would be the one person and the message you fear in failing is you can't. And so who would be the one person in your life most likely to say that to you, living or dead?
My parents.
Specifically whom would be first?
And my sister too.
Who would be top of all the people in your life, living or dead, who is at the top of the list that would be most likely to say that to you, living or dead? Who's at the very top of the list?
My mom.
Right. So fundamentally what you are saying is that your mom owns you. You are terrified to engage life because you fear her voice. She's killing you from the grave. She owns you from the fucking grave. A dead woman is running your life. For all of those of you listening, I want you to take a lesson here from Shoshanna. So many people think their problems will go away when the parent is dead. Gosh, I can't wait for my dad to be dead. Then finally I can be free. Or man, when my mom passed away, she's senile, but once she's gone, finally, it'll be off my plate. No, it won't. Because the voice is still inside of you. And sometimes it rings louder from the grave. What do you think of the idea that you are terrified to engage life because you are terrified of a dead woman's voice?
I think it's totally possible.
Possible.
And I've been putting the blame on my dad. He was the mean one.
Right.
She wasn't overtly mean, but
Right.
she was just not showing us how to fight.
And further, yeah, and she didn't protect you. And I talk about this in several videos. The myth of the ogre parent. You got one parent who's the ogre. All the other parent has to do to look like the good one is just be not quite as bad. And then, mom could be nice at times too. Yeah, but she didn't fucking protect you. And she did everything in her power to instill in you that you can't trust your own inner voice. Let me ask you, at least even theoretically, can you trust your own voice? Can you be trusted?
I have started to.
So wouldn't that starting
when
be
I actually listen to it? When I actually listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like that day that my inner voice was telling me, run, go, get out of there.
Right. And sometimes our pain has to get so bad, listening to everyone else's voices, that we finally have the courage to trust our own voice. You've been a great guest, Shoshanna, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask one more question. If you have one more question for me, what is it?
What do I do first?
All right. And I'm going to tell you what my mother would tell me every time I would ask that question. And my dad was a pastor and my mother was religious. And so I'm going to give you the religious answer that my mom would say. And she wouldn't say God or Jesus or anything like that. She would just say the Bible verse. It was simply this: do ye now the next thing. What's the next thing, Shoshanna? What's just the next thing that has to be done? Start there. So I'm asking you, what is the next thing? Manageable steps, Shoshanna. What's the next step? What is it?
Atone to my kids.
Do what?
To atone to my kids.
Atone.
To make sure they know.
I love it.
Make sure they know that I know. I've told them that I don't think that I don't know.
Good.
They really need to hear it.
They
really need to hear it.
I love that your priorities are there, and tell them they need to be journaling out their feelings, even if they're not going to tell you, that they can journal it and write letters. They don't even have to give them to you. Teach them what you know for getting their pain out, and to keep their letters and stuff private and secret so that they can have secrecy. And then after you atone to your kids, what is the next? And by the way, in that regard, I put up a video on December 24th of last year, 2023, 24th or 25th. And it's the 7 things you can do to help your adult child heal. And it's effective with teenagers too. Go back and watch it. I'm sitting outside. I'm in the snow. I got a big bomber jacket on. December 24th or 25th of last year. Okay, but here's the thing. Then after that, what's the next step after that you need to do for you to begin your life? What's the next step? What's the next thing? There's no right or wrong answer. What is it?
I need to get child support straightened out.
Boom.
I need to find a legal aid and find the resources that can get me out of this.
Boom. And that's a Google search, and start making some calls. That's where you start, just like that 7th grader, right? Manageable steps, manageable bites, right? You can do this, Shoshanna. I believe in you. I mean it. Plus, I'm cheering for you because I want you to be a fucking teacher. I want you to be you, first and foremost. But if you choose teacher, I'll be cheering the loudest because I fucking love teachers. And anybody who knows me, and my next door neighbor, she knows it because she's a teacher. And my mom knew it, and my sister was, and educated in that whole field and so forth. So I'm cheering for you, Shoshanna. I believe in you.
Hey, Sven, I have to say that Shoshanna has many, many fine qualities. But speaking of her own voice, she sounds to me just like Selena Gomez, and I love that.
Oh, yeah? Like her actual physical voice?
Yeah, sounds and it's a wonderful voice. So, hey, use it.
How about that?
Wow. Thank you. I always hated hearing my voice back on interviews.
No,
When I had to interview people.
no reason to.
And Selena Gomez
you.
is on that show now with Martin Short and Steve Martin.
That's correct.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. How about that? For all the people who can only hear your
Right.
voice, I get to see you. And you have a very pretty face and you're very pleasant and all that. But clearly people love your voice as well. So how about that? Oh, and before we sign off, take a little time before you jump into a new relationship. Okay.
No problem.
All right. Smart girl.
You got it.
You're doing great, Shoshanna. I love you. I believe in you. And keep in touch with the show, all right?
Thank you, Sven. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rob, Casey.
You bet. Thank you.
That's it. Join us for new counseling episodes every Thursday and lightning rounds every Sunday.
Thanks for listening to Badass Overtime. Now go out and slay some demons and have a kick-ass day.